welcome back to the show, everybody. With me is reverse speech researcher Peggy Kane. Welcome back, Peggy.
Thank you, Sherry.
We started the show, we were talking about Prophet Yahweh, this Raymond Watkins. And what I had said last week on my show is that I had not done research on this man myself. I'm a Bible decoder. I've been doing it for years. I have a whole website at hiddencodes.com. And so what I did after that show last week was work on this guy's code. And I wanted to tell everybody some of the stuff I found. Now, I realize a lot of the backlash online is that the campaign against him is getting started, the backlash campaign. I can't remember the exact wording. But you know what? What we do is we're trying to warn people. And this is the truth. This isn't some vendetta. This isn't some, we hate this guy, we're trying to hurt him. Both of us have openly stated, and I sent a letter out to the list, I'm willingly trying to help this man. I know what they're doing to him. I've seen this before. And when I saw it in his code, it just didn't surprise me at all. And I want to go over some of the stuff I found in his code. Then you can give us some of the clips that you have found reversing his speech in some of these interviews he's been giving.
Yes, okay.
Okay, some of the terms I have found in clusters very close together. I'm very meticulous in how I do my codes, just as much as you are in how you do your reverse speech. Mm-hmm. And I went through 20,000 words on his code,
wow.
and making sure that I was understanding exactly what I was seeing. I mean, the work I show on my website isn't even a fraction of the work I actually performed on this man's Bible code. And there's no way I could show all of that. It would just be more bandwidth than any site could handle. So some of the tight clusters around his name and in his code that I found was Vatican, CIA, sleeper agent. And these four words crossed each other right through the center of his name. And there were no spaces. I mean, they were just right together. Vatican, CIA, sleeper agent. Another cluster, chip-implanted pond.
Wow.
Off to the left of his name was NSA, staging, simulation, simulator. And that had to do with his calling down of this orb.
Right.
It's NSA and CIA were just all over this code. Two words that crossed through his name was pawn and pond. Mm-hmm. And this is typical. The government just takes innocent victims, innocent people out of the population, and turns them into agents of things that they want them to be, candidates for assignments they want them to fulfill.
Correct.
Just like John Malvo, the D.C. sniper. I called that one the day that thing all started. I knew that was a CIA chip-implanted pawn. Right. Also, Tim LaVey, who openly stated he'd been implanted with a chip.
I heard that.
Yeah, same thing with him, chip-implanted pawn of the CIA. And now we have Raymond Watkins, chip-implanted pawn of the CIA. He's not a prophet of Yahweh's. He's a CIA operation. Another things I got out of his code in regards to the NSA and the CIA's involvement with him was solar, witchcraft, voodoo, and Vatican. Science, scheme, voodoo, witchcraft, well-versed, because they're all well-versed in all this kind of witchcraft and science technology that they can do. UFO, manifest, proclamation, fraudulent game. Very tight cluster there. It's a fraudulent game. Sherry Shriner, code, coder, correctness, truth, veracity, verity. Whenever I see my own name in a code, then I know it's I see my name in almost every code that I do.
Wow.
Because it's almost so dominant that, before I was even born, before, 2,000 years before the Bible was even written, he knew I would be here in the last days to expose corruption. It was my job to come to earth and expose false prophets, expose corruption, be a Bible decoder. Everything I'm doing is exactly what I was sent here to do.
Right.
And one of the things, I'm here for, obviously, is to lead people back to the Most High God, to pull them out of the demonic bondage and the alien slavery that they're going to be in these last days. It's becoming dominant in our populations with the hybridization of aliens and humans mixing. Prophets in the Bible foretold of this time. Daniel's vision of the iron mixed with miry clay would be humans and aliens. That's a hybrid nation. People don't understand that. It's a hybrid nation. America is a hybrid nation. We are also going to be the base and the headquarters for this last days and what he was termed to as a monster empire. Nobody can come up against it. The Lord will smash it, but man himself will not be able to come up against it. It's going to be the superpower of the last days, and that's what we have with America.
Wow.
We know that they have bases all over underneath our country. And another one, and what I was talking about last week on this show and over the last 2 weeks, is the Ashtar Command's base in Belém, Brazil. And so I found it very interesting. Belém does show up in Prophet Yahweh Raymond Watkins' Bible Code, that he would mention going to Brazil, taking his followers and going to Brazil. And I'm like, stay away from the Kool-Aid. Because we have another Jim Jones thing going.
Right, yeah.
And so the whole thing is it's a setup, it's an operation. I believe he's a victim. I don't believe he's doing this intentionally, and you don't either.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
He's being played. And so you found stuff in his own speech, and I'm going to let you play that.
Well, yeah, what happened was I knew that from other reversals that there was and I know people really kind of bridle at this, but maybe your audience is used to hearing it, that there was going to be a meat collection process going on with these aliens. I got this. It was very shocking, the meat being human, and I knew that they were going to be picking up humans for that purpose. Now, I thought a lot of it, and I would tell friends, and they would be, like, oh boy, that's really weird. So, but I didn't go public with it per se because I didn't. And then I decided when I heard Prophet Yahweh he was on with George Noory, and they played the clip of him, I think it was Channel 13 in Las Vegas, where he actually calls in a UFO in front of the cameraman and the interviewer. And, there's a lot of music, and suddenly they see something, and they all see it, and it's very hype, and it's very exciting for them.
Yeah.
And what happened was I downloaded that, plus a little bit from the Noory interview, and what I got in reverse was so horrible that I immediately emailed him. And I said, please, I know you're a good man. I really need to have you hear what you're saying because you're being deceived. And I wasn't about to go public with